Hey everyone. In today's video, I want to briefly talk about how you can use Sentry in your Flask apps to keep track of any errors that occur while your app is out deployed somewhere. So to demonstrate this, I have a very simple API that I've set up for something else. So I'm going to demonstrate Sentry, which is a tool that you can use to keep track of the errors. So Sentry is a service that you can use that will integrate with your Flask app, and anytime an error occurs in your Flask app will send that error to Sentry, and then you'll get this very good looking list of messages, and each message will have a lot of detail to it. So it's a lot more detailed than regular logs, and you don't have to worry about sending yourself emails every time something happens. Instead, you can just go into this dashboard and view the errors. So I have this app that I've created. It's just an API. So what I'll do is I'll set up Sentry and I'll create some errors just so you can see what this looks like. So here I'm on the Sentry dashboard. So after I've signed up, I can go to create project and find Flask. So they make this really easy to do. So I'll just create project and then they'll give me some code. So I just need to install with pip this library Sentry-SDK with Flask, and I already have it installed, so it's going to tell me that. And then inside of my project, I just need to add a few lines of code. So I have these two imports here, so I'll just put those at the top, and then I also have this to add into my app. So I'll just put it in my create app function underneath where I instantiate the app object. And it just has this DSN and an integration, which is Flask integration. So once I do those two things, I'm done. So what I'll do is I'll start up my Flask app and I'll create some errors. So I have my project here and we see there are no issues. So what I'll do is I'll go to Postman. Like I said, this is an API. So if I send this should work, so everything is fine. But if I change one of the keys and try again, I get an error. So I get a 500 error here, which isn't useful. But of course, I'm running on my local machine, so I can easily get all the error information. But imagine if this were on a server, then I wouldn't know exactly when this error occurs, and I wouldn't have all of the context that happened when the error occurred. But if I go to the dashboard and just refresh, so this pops up a little quicker, we see I have this key error that was just generated. So I click on it and I see where in the code it happened. I see the trace. I see the body of the post request. So I am missing a character here in level. And it just gives me a bunch of other information that may be useful when it comes to debugging this. So instead of looking at a log, I have this to look at, which is much more detailed than any log can be. And then also, it's not something that you would send in an email. Like you wouldn't send all this information in an email to yourself, but here you can get all this information by just going on the dashboard. So you don't have to use Sentry.io. They do have an open source version of Sentry that you can host yourself. But of course, doing it on Sentry.io is the most straightforward way. And if for small projects, it's free, so you don't have to worry about paying anything. So I just thought this was a useful tool and may be useful for anyone who has apps deployed in production. It's very easy to set up, so it's not like you have to change anything about your app. You just add 1, 2, 3 lines of code to get it working. And that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about Sentry, maybe I can help. Just leave a comment down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please subscribe. So thank you for watching, and I will talk to you next time.